cabling installed here on Jomtien Beach, and I'm walking down towards the restaurant I was at yesterday, and but I'm probably going to stop along the way at a restaurant called 1669 on Beach Road. Remind me how I do this, and boom. So I tell you what, they are actually, this is a significant amount of the beach more open. There is a significant amount of the beach more open. Yeah, that's right. The beach is more open here than yesterday. How's that? These are the walls that I basically walked by. And so now, my only childless gets even more beach. Pretty sweet, right? So it doesn't appear as though they're going to keep extending it past there, which is pretty much where my hotel is. And it would be really cool if they did, but I don't know if they are. Regardless, the main reason I'm walking sort of back to where I was yesterday is because of their Wi-Fi. The hotel I'm in, while it has a number of pluses, one of the negatives, or two of the negatives, the first is that their Wi-Fi is not fast. And unfortunately, it's also not reliable. It's got little glitches and things. If you watched any of my horrendous live streams, version 1.0 and version 2.0 yesterday, then and you saw what happens when the Wi-Fi is not stable. And that's occurring there. And hey, Matt Tech, yeah, I am live actually, dude. I'm just like walking down Jomtien Beach. I'm cruising over to, well, my first stop is going to be a restaurant called 1669. And, but from the first time I get there, from the moment I get there, I'm going to test the Wi-Fi and see if it's good. ET Travel Freely. Hey, I don't know who you are, but thank you so much. Like, I think the first time I saw your name pop up was yesterday, and I'm honored, and then you're back again today. This is cool, man. I think that's outstanding. Okay, so live chat, not top chat. And there we go. I am very shaky, and believe it or not, amidst that, I still want to have more caffeine. Yeah, I'm relegated. So I have basically a stick attached to my camera, my phone rather. So, hey, Chris, good to see you, man. I'm just walking along. I just basically went next finish on this live stream, which is another reason why it's like really shaky, is I don't exactly have. Well, I'm certainly not doing it with my GoPro. But anyway, I just thought I'd walk down the beach. This is pretty bad, actually. I'm a little disappointed. So this phone that I bought it for, the main reason I bought it is because it is the cheapest 5G phone I could find. Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Or young lady, I don't know your gender. It's not really relevant. The fact that you're here, I'm honored. It's really cool. Strangers are just simply friends I haven't met yet. So I was able to, so when I first got to the cuddles on the running machine, yeah. Good for you. That's awesome. Dude, you are so healthy. Oh my God. When you run on the treadmill, what do you do? Like probably 10K? I used to do 5. That was my goal. When I was at the Title Arts Cafe place, it's really hard for me to remember the name of that place simply because it's like 3 nouns that don't fit together. And then Cafe Gallery on some of the signs, and then Gallery Cafe on some of the other signs. When I did a speed test yesterday on the 5 gig network, it was like 250 down, 250 up, right? So I'm like, okay, awesome. But it was unreliable high-speed streaming. So I switched down to 2.4. But the cool thing is that I need to upload, I don't know, probably I think I've probably got about 30 or so gigs of video that I need to upload from the GoPro, because I uploaded it. I used this in-browser editor just for my stuff, called WeVideo. But of course, that involves me needing to get the videos up to the cloud, be it Dropbox or otherwise. And so, if 1669 doesn't have around 200 megabits a second up, then I will continue walking down to Title Arts, whatever place, from yesterday. And it's interesting. So today is Thursday. I extended my room for one more night via Agoda, which they seem to be very confused with for some reason this morning. I have extended it once already via Agoda. I mean, I simply just go to the front desk and be like, okay, if I want to extend one more night, like, what's it going to cost? And then they tell me, and I'm like, all right, well, it's cheaper for me to book this, like, literally standing right in front of you on Agoda than it is to give you guys cash. So I'll be back in 30 seconds. So anyway, so I made a reservation last night for an additional night. Otherwise, I need to check out at noon today. But she couldn't find my reservation, even though I showed her the reservation on my phone. But because she doesn't have it, and I guess she doesn't know how to do shift print, due to probably lack of training, then she's like, yeah, can you just come back? I'm like, I can do a lot of things, but I would prefer that you just extend the end date and time on my key right now. But unfortunately, and it's a, it's a Thai sort of, hey, how you doing, Joe? It's a very Thai behavior there at the check-in desk, which means that the men have more authority and more competency, it seems. But unfortunately, they just sort of sit back. A lot of times fumble around and don't help them. And it's a behavior that I find to be very unattractive. But one of those sort of, young puppy head turned sideways moments that you'll have here in Thailand, which is a lot of times we'll just refer to that as saving face. Or if you're from my school of thought from the United States, we refer to that as lack of integrity. But again, so I believe what that guy was doing was an interview potentially for the upcoming mayoral election. But his tone is a little bit too abrasive for me. If he had said, Masad, then I would have been like, okay, we're going to hang out, dude. But no. If you're staying down in Jomtien, I can absolutely, cool, nice. I can absolutely recommend Davari Hotel when it's not busy here. I have no knowledge of what it's like when the hotel is full. I'm staying in a room that is very, very comfortable for me because there's no one on my left and no one on my right, and no one two doors down to the right and no one 2 doors down to the left. I don't believe anyone's beneath me. Well, everyone's beneath me, let's be clear. But I don't believe there's anyone physically staying above me either. And so that's nice because then, I'm relieved of any sort of annoying thumping or things like that with people that might have large feet. The biggest concern is when there's a ladyboy with high heels who's staying above me, walking around. That can get a little noisy. Wow, 8. Let me guess. Of the 8 people here, probably 4 of you weren't notified that I went live, right? I know I'm going to get a message from Mariano in like an hour that says, dude, I didn't get a notification from YouTube that you went live. Oh, Joe, dude, you're so awesome. Thank you. $5 for a smoothie. That's a 150 baht smoothie, brah. Even if I deduct YouTube's cut of it, that's still 100. So this is something that I saw yesterday and something that I had never seen before yesterday, and now I see them a lot. And I don't know whether that's just reticular activation or the fact that these actually exist, and I've walked past them, I've never noticed them. But basically you've got the absolute oldest motorbike frame known to man strapped to I-beams that are holding a, I would guess probably about a 20 horsepower maybe. What would you guys say? It's probably about 20 horsepower big internal combustion, maybe larger. Actually, it's got quite the cooling there. But then obviously it's got a step-up gearing, and then I assume that there's additional step-up gearing there, and then this thing there, and they turn it on, and it allows them to pull this rope in. And I don't know whether that's they pull boats in, or you did not get notified. Of course. Sorry about that, Joe. Well, then I'm honored you're here. If you guys don't get notified, how in the world do you know to come over here, other than just morbid curiosity? I wonder what the hell Mike's up to. So that rope, there's a part of me that thinks, well, maybe it's pulling in nets. Like maybe they put these giant nets out there, which, you know, I mean, again, you get some fish in those, even if there's not a lot of fish in them. Those nets get quite heavy, especially being, you know, friction of the water. So maybe that's what it pulls in, but, and I guess they leave them here, obviously, to have something solid to lean against, which is sorry, I was like pointing not at that. They leave them here so that there's something solid for it to, you know, brace themselves against. But considering how common it is to sort of just, you know, cruise out on the beach to do what you need to do. Like, I mean, if you've got a boat and you've got a trailer and you've got a tractor, then basically they just drive out on the beach and launch the boat or pull the boat in or pull the jet skis in at the end of the night. So it's not like, oh my God, I can't drive on the beach. So I'm guessing that it's there on the sidewalk because, again, they need some degree of bracing to be available. So it is now 8-ish, I guess. And the last time I walked down here, it was like, I was walking home. I think it was probably about 2 o'clock. So also not notified. Joy. Thank you, though. I mean, I really appreciate you guys coming by. That's totally awesome. Sorry for my finger. I just check every 5 minutes. Thank God. You're awesome. And they weren't doing anything with them then. And I don't know whether this is a morning thing or it's like a dusk thing. I think that I've now seen one that's basically close to my hotel. So maybe tonight at like sunset, I'll cruise out and check that. In case you're wondering where I am, I'm at Jomtien, Pattaya Beach. However, you've also seen one of these signs. If you've seen any Jomtien, Pattaya Beach signs and, you know, opportunities for selfie down sort of at the north end. And this is arguably what could be labeled as the south end. What was interesting is 2 nights ago, it was full on busy. I mean, I'm talking Tuesday night and it's busy like it's Saturday night in my judgment. And last night, it was ridiculously quiet. I mean, I basically spent the whole afternoon, evening in the room working on some projects. Are the go-go, on your favorite list, are the go-go bars open? They're absolutely open. Are all of them open? No. If you are familiar with Soi 6, right? So you know how it goes from like Beach Road all the way up to 2nd Road? So for the most part, the summary of that road is that between Beach Road and halfway up the Soi, the bars are pretty much open. From halfway to 2nd Road, pretty much there's about 20 side coming from the beach. I just saw a swirl that said reconnecting your live. So let me make sure I'm answering your question fully. There are many go-go bars open. And about halfway up Soi 6, they're open. And from about halfway away from the beach all the way to 2nd Road, they're closed. Hello, Gracie and Mom and Dad. Indeed. Yeah, Gracie's heading back home from Manila today. Back down to the island of Panay. Kalibo, Manila to Kalibo. And then probably going to stay with her sister for a night, I guess. Maybe not. And then bus down back to Hamandan. And the good news is, I think I mentioned this yesterday on the live stream, May 14th is the day that the Department of Foreign Affairs is claiming that they will be releasing Euresa's passport. And so now, the quality problem that we have in our lives is, when is she going to make her first trip to Thailand? And I would argue that anyone watching this video right now, if the biggest problem you guys had in your life was, when am I going to next go to Thailand and how am I going to schedule it? That's a pretty darn good life. So I hope you've got the same dilemma. May 16th is LK Metro. Okay, so if that's the case, then LK Metro is so as far as density of, or highest density of go-go bars, right? You could argue, and to be fair, I apologize. You said go-go bars. There really aren't any go-go bars on Soy 6. There's just like beer bars, girl bars, whatever the hell you want to call them. You cruise in, you buy a lady drink, you sit down, you hang out, and you do whatever you're going to do. So go-go bars, of which there are many, as well as bars, but go-go bars on LK Metro. Some are open, some aren't. Walking Street, on the other hand, it's sort of a similar paradigm, like from the entry to Walking Street, right? There are more places open, but once you pretty much get past Lucifer, they're pretty much closed, and Lucifer's not even open. Candy Shop was open. We went in there. They have, live bands and DJ. We went in there the other night. My buddy Tino was singing. His band was playing, and there's a few folks. But I mean, again, I haven't been to go-go bar, and honestly, the last go-go bar I went with Gracie, and I think it was when we were in Cebu. And she's like, oh, let's go check it. And of course, she spent the whole time like talking to the mama-san, and none of the girls are going to come over and talk to me. It's like, I took to go-go bar with Gracie. He's like, oh, great, Mike, you brought sand to the beach. Which is actually kind of nice. I appreciated the fact that I wasn't really bothered. Sorry, what's that? Oops, sorry. I missed that comment. It's weird. I could have sworn I thought that it was just like a one tap, and then you get to see. You saw me in the Wombat. How did you see me in the Wombat? I was there. I don't believe I know I didn't have my camera with me. That's interesting. Did Robbie do a video from there? I don't remember. Oh, that's kind of cool. So Steve is a very nice guy. I actually met him and talked with him at length, as well as Tom from Thailand Digital Nomad, who recognized me as I walked in. And, given the incredibly bland custom-made shirts that I wear, it's amazing that he found me. I like to think of myself as being quite clandestine here. And so, anyway, I was able to speak with him for a while and find out what he's trying to do with his bar. He's quite ambitious. He's actually a very good chef. Mr. Mitch, the world's coolest moderator of all foreign or all Farang YouTube channels that do live streams, he and I chatted on Facebook Messenger and that sort of thing. However, selfishly, I've sadly not been able to meet him face to face. When I messaged him earlier this week, he was in Pai with his buddies, but I believe he's now back down here, or at least heading back down here. So there's a likelihood that I may see him this evening, should I cruise by the Wombat. I said, when do you normally go there? And I think he said normally Fridays, Friday afternoon, Friday evening. And I will not be here then. I'm going to leave tomorrow morning on the bus back to Bangkok. I have the benefit, the luxury, the option, the opportunity to basically only to travel during the week and to vacation during the week, and then basically go home on the weekends. which is sort of my preferred paradigm because you see all the traffic during this normal morning commute. This is what I'm a fan of. I did a video on this, and it's one of the ones I'm going to upload. These two buildings here, left and right, are called Reflection. And apparently, the one in the front there, at the peak, it's got this like giant sculpture thingy at the top. You know, I mean, the highest part of many buildings, like certainly in the US, right, is like a giant antenna, right? And on this one, I believe the data that I read was like it's around 700 meters, which is quite high. And I also believe that its claim is that it is the tallest building in Chonburi province. So anyway, that's Reflection. Past Reflection is the restaurant that we are going to attempt to see about. Actually, you know what? I guess I walked past 1669 and I didn't even realize it, which is too bad because now I won't have the opportunity to try that place and have some of their breakfast. The place I was at yesterday is right up there with that open sign, and I liked it quite a bit, and I know they have fast Wi-Fi. So, although I kind of want to try a new place, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk back here until I get to this magic 1669 place. And as he approached me, I noticed that he put his mask up over his face, so I just did the same. And now I'm back underneath my chin. I actually have the healthiest germ-free chin, I think, of most Farang that are here because of my deployment. You're a fan of that 69, are you, Joe? Attaboy. Wait, let me just push the button and then be patient. Okay, there you go, Mike. Wampag goes live on and off in the evening. Oh, so when Robbie and I were walking by the other night, is that what you mean? Yeah, it was funny when I was talking with him. I said, okay, so what's your biggest desire, you know, for the next stage in this bar? And he's like, I want people to stay here after 7. He says, everyone pretty much leaves after 7. I said, oh, that's cool. And it wasn't a plan. It just so happened that we were leaving the Jomtien night market, walking back to our hotel areas. And it was like 7:30 or something. And so I gave him a hard time and I said, oh my God, look at all these people here after 7. Because between the bar and the sidewalk, you know, it was pretty full actually. I didn't see how many patrons were deep inside of the bowels of the restaurant, but nonetheless. Man, am I like completely asleep, or am I just so committed to doing a live stream and being as emotionally attached to my viewers as absolutely possible that I have no idea where I am? But I don't believe it's that far away, actually. You may love 69, Joe, but have you ever accomplished 16 of them? That would be quite impressive, actually. So for you to be able to get a t-shirt that says, hi, I'm Joe, and I 1669, that would be an accomplishment. I will tell you that one of my more favorite things to do as a young boy was to continue to wear my pajamas as I'm out in public, because it was like you wear your pajamas when you're in bed, right? But then, and when you're sleeping in the morning, but then when you leave the house, you have to dress up, kind of thing. So when I was able to continue to wear my pajamas, oh yeah. When I was a kid, continuing to wear my pajamas throughout the day, it was up there with like when your parents let you stay up past 8 or past 9 or whatever. On a school night, for God's sake, traditionally, because of course, either Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or Charlie Brown Christmas was playing, and obviously, as a parent, you don't want your children to miss those documentaries. $71 just one time, attaboy. Mitch is gonna be back soon. Okay, cool. Yeah. I think his last sort of short thingy that he did, right? He says he's leaving He's like to come back home. This is kind of neat looking. It's actually the only other restaurant/hotel. I believe it's actually just a restaurant, unless it's like attached to that thing on the right. If you're familiar with the one, I think it's on, is it Beach Road Soy 3 or Beach Road Soy 4 maybe. It's called like A1. It's on Pattaya Beach Road. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what Mitch said on this video. Oh, if you didn't hear me mention it yesterday, or if you're unfamiliar with him, a friend of mine, Robbie, has started a channel. Pretty much like every single other person on the planet who has the internet. But I would encourage you, and appreciate it, if you would subscribe to his channel. It's called Walking in My Shoes. Now, here's the neat thing about his channel and his videos. If you've ever come to Thailand, and if you've been here more than like 2 or 3 times, you'll watch his videos and be like, oh my God, if I see one more foreigner with a YouTube channel that goes to all of the standard places. So I get that. But the cool thing is that his experiences and his videography, basically, his reception of things that I think for me, when I first came here, were like, oh my God, this is so cool. I've never seen this before. Not the least of which is a giant gold Buddha the size of an apartment building. Many of these things, even though I've experienced them and, you know, potentially have experienced them for the first time with Gracie, or experienced them the first time by myself and then shared them with Gracie, or Gracie learns of them and we go experiencing them with some of her colleagues or whatever for the first time. How far past 1669 did I walk? Yeah, walking in my shoes. Thank you. Did I say it wrong? Thank you, Joe. His name's Robbie, and he's doing like 1 or 2 videos a day. He's uploading 1 or 2 videos a day. But the neat thing is that, you know, a lot of the topics and a lot of the presentation and that sort of thing are it's sort of like, remember when Rob had his channel first, when Rob first started 20 Seconds in Thailand, right? And the whole shtick with that, right, was it's like, I'm over here in Thailand for the first time and I'm not having a clue. That was sort of what he sort of labeled his behavior as. I have no clue what's going on. And, you know, so he would like go to 7-Eleven and be like, oh my God, I can get a Coke for 10 cents or what, you know. And, you know, had I never been here, and even when I had only been here a couple times, I would watch his videos and be like, you know, I mean, I didn't know what a soy dog was, right? Other than a beef or meat-free hot dog that was sold in Southern California with a big bag of Sprouts and some Birkenstocks. Dude, I must be completely losing it. I mean, like, how is this restaurant that I'm supposed to, is this thing like 10 meters from my freaking hotel and I just walked past it because I'm distracted by the beauty and essence of all Joe's comments? If you saw my Facebook, I posted a couple photos last night from my balcony of the sunset. You know, hotel room that I'm all in with taxes, paying $29 for, which is, Joe, as you know, we have a word in Southern California and likely the Gulf Coast of Florida for hotel rooms on the 25th floor that overlook the water where you can see sunset. It only costs $25. And as we know, Joe, what's that word? Exactly. Boom. You cannot find it. So that's disappointing, but not surprising. I encouraged him to get the vanity URL of youtube.com/walking in my shoes. If you don't know, after you've got 100 subscribers, you can then change the URL to your channel from, you know, youtube.com/C/8735963GGGG7D_backslash to some gigantic hash, right? To something much of the flavor, youtube.com/live my ass off. And unfortunately, I sent him a link and I said, oh yeah, just change it to this. And then I hit enter after typing youtube.com/walking in my shoes. And it's some lady who I believe has 2 subscribers and like 1 video. So I'm not quite sure, actually. Maybe she's got 200 subscribers and 2 videos or something to that flavor. But the point is that she sadly has already claimed the vanity URL of youtube.com/walking in my shoes. So he's trying to find a decent alternative to that. Oh, it's operating. Outstanding. See, guys, I'm psyched I came by. All 8 of you that are still here, thank you very much. But also, let's have a look at this. Okay, so obviously he's got the gears engaged. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so he just let the tension go. But I believe what he was doing is he was basically pulling the boat up onto the beach. Which, if you think about it, I mean, you can only do that for a few boats, right? And then, like, you got to angle the cable the other way. So, okay, wait, here he goes. So there's obviously a lot of slop in that. But he's, here's where he's like, okay, dude, you just need to be quiet. And he's going to beat me with this giant metal pipe. But obviously this pulls the rope and gets rid of some of the tension that I guess previously was attached to that rope. And now it doesn't seem like it's attached to anything, so he's just pulling it up here on the rope. That's really cool. All right, I'm gonna step over this and not kill myself. Chody cup. Good luck. I don't know. I mean, for me, that was a treat. I find that to be sort of interesting. I see the next one down the sidewalk spinning as well, but I believe he's doing the same thing, meaning that he is pulling up the slack. But what I want to make note of is to see. Oh no, they're pulling the whole thing in. So he's basically closing up shop for the day as far as his little motorized rope pull goes. This is so here you go. So here I am, right? Basically almost 10 years in, and I am discovering something for the first time. So as you can possibly hear in my voice, you can hear my level of enjoyment and excitement seeing something for the first time. And so imagine having another YouTube channel called Walking in My Shoes that is having similar experiences, right? Yeah, that stuff's kind of cool. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And if not, well, guess what? Plenty of room at the cool kids table for your friends if you're unwilling to occupy. The distance between here and this restaurant that I'm supposed to find absolutely escapes me. And to give you an idea of how much I walked, I can tell you that, I consider myself to be in fairly decent shape. And I also have Walking in My Shoes, Pattaya Beach Road, Walk with Freelancers. Yeah, good point. So if you search for that, you will absolutely probably come across his latest video, which is the title of it. And, but I get it, right? The only way to get a couple thousand subs is to also get a couple hundred. And we've all been at a couple hundred. And so unfortunately, even back then, it was like, people would be like, okay, let me search for Live My Ass Off. And they would search for Live My Ass Off and they wouldn't find me. I was sharing this with Robbie the other day, actually. I don't know if you guys recall this, but back when I first started my channel, I got very few referrals, very few search results of any degree of positivity, because that was the time when YouTube was just obsessed about being appropriate. And it's when a lot of other YouTubers, if you recall, were basically complaining about their loss of revenue because of anything that was sort of questionable in their videos. And there was even times when people's videos would get taken down and then they had to click manually review my video and then it would come back on. And I had to do that a couple of times. This is before I was even monetized. But I also remember, as my channel name, posting comments in live streams with other YouTubers, and I would get absolutely grayed out and held for review because the word ass was in my channel name. And I was just like, I don't know, have I walked by this place, guys? Am I that freaking lost? It is like a 2 or 3 story building. It's got a giant, it's got a giant 1669 in front of it. And and it escapes me. I thought it was, I'm at Soy 17, my hotel is at Soy 12. Soy 12, Soy 13. Guys, oh my God, wait. So Dragon Beach Resort, that kind of looks like the building. Can one of you please open up Google Maps? Because I've done this before. I've opened up Google Maps while doing a live stream, and then unfortunately the silly live stream freaking stops. And I don't know whether it's a limitation of my phone processing or whether that's just the way multiple apps work. And can you look for 1669 and be careful what you type in, Joe. Type all of the numbers right next to each other, hit the space bar, and then type restaurant. And with any luck, you won't come across any other videos that talk about freelancers on Beach Road in Pattaya. But guys, I am like, and to give you a reference point, I am at Dragon Beach Resort. So find out on Google Maps how the hell, oh my God, there it is. Dude, it's like, okay, so that's, see that red deal, never mind, it's right there. And no, it's not the green, it's not the green plus sign where I like it, which is interesting, right? So the pharmacies here, traditionally, and certainly now too, their sort of symbol for pharmacy is the two characters of Thai, but then there's also the green plus sign, which I hadn't seen green plus signs, cross signs, for medical related things in the United States until marijuana dispensaries became common. So I remember coming here and I'd be like, Jesus Christ, they must have a serious pot problem in this country. Guys, I like literally, I walked past, you know what's funny is I walked past Rescue Pizza and I'm like, oh, cool. That place looks a lot like, it looks a lot like 1669 restaurant, but clearly it's not. Clearly it's Rescue Pizza. I guess I'll just keep walking. I don't recall how I found this channel. It may have been a YouTube recommendation based on my interest in Thailand. I'm guessing, right? YouTube is snooping on our channel and interesting, yeah. I'm still at 41. Oh, Joe, thank you so much, yeah, for posting his channel. That's cool. He's a decent guy, and again, like I said, sometimes I like watching his videos because I'm like, oh my God, dude, you just got so excited that you were able to buy a foot massage for $6 kind of thing. So anyway, we're gonna wait for the morning commute to die down a little bit before we make the trek across the street to the bar that I should have found 9 minutes ago. Although I'll tell you, here's the beauty of this whole thing that just transpired. Easily, I have gone through at least an additional 1,000 calories, thereby justifying my desire and my ability to order pancakes with extra syrup. Well, I definitely don't want filet mignon for breakfast, but this is actually a lot easier for me, this menu, because obviously the menu down the street was in Thai and I'm illiterate. So, ooh, breakfast. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm very excited about Israeli breakfast. Guys, here you go. So here's another thing that I'm totally new to. Shashkuba, 2 eggs, bread, coffee, orange juice for 100. That sounds very interesting to me. Oh, I do love hummus and pita bread. All right, that might be the breakfast we get. Because, I mean, I can always get friggin' bacon and eggs at denny's.thailand.com, although I'm a big fan of the Eggs Benedict. Anyway, I'm going to try this Israeli breakfast. Can sit upstairs? Cool. Thank you. What a great smile, huh? Yeah, so, okay, so I missed this, walking past, did not see. So it is Rescue, yes. Rescue Restaurant.
Rescue Coffee and 169 Restaurant.
169 Restaurant and Rescue Coffee.
Yes.
Got it. Okay, cup. Wow, that's fancy.
Yes. Around.
Wow. Swimak. That's very nice. Okay, cool. I'll be upstairs. Joe, how do we rate things? Dude, on a scale of 1 to Mike's, this restaurant is 3 rope swing. I don't know if this will die on me or not. Ooh, okay, are you guys seeing this? The lights are turning on as I go up to them. Are they turning off as I go past them? Yes, they are. Oh my God, dude, my ego is big. I wonder if there's like someone downstairs, like with a whole bunch of switches turning this on. Look at that. My ego loves this. So I have okay, so I know what I want, but I'm gonna grab a menu. So that oh my God, this menu is like Encyclopedia Britannica. Okay, so guys, what time is it here? Is it like 8:30? It's 8:30 in the morning and I'm the only dude here? Do I seriously want to occupy a table that's for 8 people? I guess I do, right? All right, well, I tell you what, over there is of no interest. This looks awesome and really bitchin' and cool. So I'm gonna sit here and we're gonna look out over there. And what are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna judge. I may even switch to the laptop and do picture in picture so that you get the benefit of my gorgeous amber skin, chocolate skin, and you also get the benefit of video. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tripod it out for right now. And I'm gonna order. I'm gonna take off my mask because I can. Okay, to give you, so I'm 6'2", which means my upper body is approximately. This is 2 feet of menu, and the entire thing is in English. Oh my God, what a fantasy! Good morning, lunchtime for me. Hey, wait, hold on, who is that? Is that Natalie from? Oh, Nathan Home. I'm sorry. I thought you were this woman that I met basically just online. Okay, so thank you for putting the address there, Joe, because I wanted to be able to find this for other people. Have what? My coach. Oh, bar. Okay, got it. Oh, and then, yeah. Oh, wow. Oh, this is actually nice. I mean, you can't see the ocean, but Shop Tele. Shop Tele. I like the sea. Think about how efficient Thai is. To say I like the ocean, I say like sea. I mean, dude, that's giant. I don't know whether that was sort of her indication that, hey, so dude, like you can't sit here at the big boy table by yourself if you're not a big boy. What the ha-ha? So I think I know what I'm gonna get because I've never had this before. Oh, thank you. Is this?
Yes.
How you say?
Satshuga.
Satshuga.
Yes.
And it's toast, egg,
and sauce.
So like tomato.
Yes.
Okay.
And come with Israel.
Okay. Yeah, I want that.
Yes.
Please. And also nam pao, nam gang.
In the set, have orange juice, have water, 1 glass, and black coffee.
Included.
Yes.
Wow. It's a pretty good deal, right? Okay, great. I'll have that, and then I'll go from there. You make smoothies.
Yes,
Smoothie. Mango passion smoothie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet, normal.
Midnight. Yeah, like 50%.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Oh, do you have Wi-Fi?
Have OSHA 169.
Okay.
And password 1669.
Okay, cool. Very easy. Awesome. You guys got that right? Good. Okay. So I don't think I can do picture in picture. So I think what we'll do then is we'll do picture of Tele. How's that? So we'll hang out there. Nathan is here too. I apologize. I don't know Nathan. God, I mean, Nathan Home, are we? See, here's the other downside, right? Is I haven't done a live stream regularly. I haven't uploaded videos regularly in a long time. And you may be like, dude, I've been commenting on your videos for like the last 18 friggin' months. And I've missed it. And if that's the case, I genuinely apologize. Sand, sea, surf is my happy place. Yeah, Joe, I got it. Yes, we did not. We can use it. Okay. That's good. I expect all of you people to come here and jam my signal, bro. Hey, Joe, so check it out, right? So the breakfast that I ordered, 2 pieces of toast. It's got 2 eggs, sunny side up, with like a sauce and stuff. And it comes with coffee and orange juice and water. and it's 139 baht. And you know what we call 139 baht in US dollars, Joe? We call that Joe's $5 super chat. So I'm basically having the Joe 1000 for breakfast. And I hope all of you guys are incredibly How cool is it that I got the Thai flag going on right there? Ah, dude, I don't know. So see, here is the other reason why I really like Robbie's channel. It's because he reminds me of the, in air quotes, little things, right? It's the little things. You guys have heard that statement before. The little things that I find very, very enjoyable. And I will tell you that an empty beach with a Thai flag on it, I find very, very enjoyable. One of the reasons is because when Gracie and I first moved to Thailand permanently in November of 2019, we lived in Cha Am. And in Cha Am, on Wednesdays, the beach looks very similar to it does right now, meaning it's empty and there are no chairs on it, because on Wednesdays in Cha Am, they don't allow people to put chairs or set up anything for sale on the beach. And so Wednesdays, the beach is completely blank, which, as we all know, we refer to lovingly as, wait for it, Only Child Beach. And so I went to Only Child Beach on Wednesday, and I also love Wednesday in Cha Am, because on Wednesdays in Cha Am, so Nathan, check this out, dude. So basically, if you're on Jomtien Beach and you are south of like Soi 13, Jomtien Beach Road, Soi 13 and south, it is ginormous. And I apologize because this video and the one I did as a live stream yesterday are basically the only videos that I've uploaded in the last, I don't know, like 10 months. The only videos that have been on YouTube. But I videoed a whole bunch of videos, a whole bunch of content walking down the beach yesterday morning, which I then am now in need of uploading, which I'm going to open my laptop and connect to their Wi-Fi, and hopefully it's super fast. I'm having such an enjoyable time. I wasn't like, well, if your Wi-Fi is not fast, I'm not going to hang out. But the other thing that I would really love to know from you guys is, do you have a similar reaction, a similar response, a similar affinity for moments like this, where it's like you see, oh, dude, Joe, just in case you need more. So how about this? You guys just keep paying me, and I'll just keep eating until I get 300 pounds and have to roll myself back. No, do you have like new things like that? Like, oh my God, it's this cute little new thing or whatever. Because, you know, I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go get food, and I'm going to go get, you know, really, really fast Wi-Fi. But Joe, thank you very much. You're totally spectacular. I also want to thank ET for listing other people's channels. Yeah, so if you guys don't know, and so hold on. Oh, you know what? It's difficult, unfortunately, ET. It's difficult for me to make you a moderator with a wrench, which then therefore allows you to post people's URLs for their channel. So I apologize for that. But let me see, if I click on you and then I add moderator, ET, you should now be a moderator. I believe I did that correctly, because I was consciously making the decision to not click on put in timeout. So I believe you have the rights of all the cool kids, and welcome to the cool kids table. But I really like these neat little new things, and I think that's one of the reasons why I will argue. I will tell you right now that actually, if I summarize it, $5 gets you hot dogs at yesterday's. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, and this was a while ago that I went to a baseball game in San Diego. I think a hot dog is actually more than $5, right? Isn't it? Okay, so let's see. Oh yeah, okay, so I didn't exactly understand the way she said it, but now that I see it, I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, so the Wi-Fi network is 1669 OCHA, and I thought she said OSHA, and I'm like, oh great, does that mean I'm gonna have to like wear a safety harness? But as we know, it's 1669, and we're gonna do a speed test. The majority of the videos that I watch lately have been from guys who have new channels that are experiencing Pattaya for the first time. These guys that like just spin up a YouTube channel and have been coming to Thailand for like 70 years. I mean, again, that adds value too. But for me, lately, what I've been really in the mood for watching has been guys like Robbie, like walking in my shoes. And I only wish, actually, that I had picture-in-picture in this camera, phone camera option. Now, Google.com didn't really render all that briskly. So I'm going to hit speedtest.net and see if this is the kind of restaurant that I hang out at even after eating my amazing Israeli breakfast. Okay, so it looks like 3BB is their provider. I know that my mouth is incredibly close to the microphone right now, but the initial download speed, the fact that this is rendering very slowly disappoints me, although the ping time of 4 milliseconds is, oh yeah, see, that's horrible download speed. Now, to be fair, let me also stop syncing Dropbox, because a lot of times Dropbox syncing will cause impediments in the speed, but no, I mean, this Wi-Fi is offensive. Yeah, 12 megs down, 6, but yeah, I'm not even going to bother. So basically, this is the reason why we are going to be continuously live streaming from 5G on my phone. I want to make sure I get the flag in there. I'm kind of, I mean, I wish I could be like sort of like here, you know, but that would involve like putting a chair up on this table. So that would be a little weird. But how about I do this? That's a little better, right? That's just kind of neat, isn't it? Yeah. There you go. That's Thailand right there. Welcome to Thailand at the beach. I like that. I'm a fan of that. I'll do that all day long. You get your own little swimming area there. Your swimming hole. All right. Let me shut off my laptop and save the battery, because this laptop is incredibly powerful. It's incredibly heavy, and unfortunately, because of that, the battery only lasts about 2 hours. Popcorn Maka. She had a very similar ring on her index finger that I have on my right ring finger. The gold rings that Gracie and I bought at the Gold Shop. Not nachos, and who's tops tapes over the webcam. Ah, thank you so much, ET. Paid 29 USD for a pretzel and a beer yesterday. Are you serious, Joe? So literally, dude, I get to stay in a hotel room for the same amount of money as you paid for a beer and a pretzel. How much was the beer? I bet the beer was like 17 bucks, right? It's just so crazy. Anyway, so here's what's come so far. Oh, let me zoom out. So yeah, so I get this, and actually I'm gonna get another bottled water. But the mango smoothie thing, so remember, right, it's Rescue Coffee and 1669 Restaurant. Oh, it's got like chunks of mango in it too. I bet you this is more expensive than my breakfast. The last time I got like a mango smoothie at a restaurant, it was like 150 baht. Maybe. But I'm also gonna rock up my coffee, because cold coffee is of no use to me. So we can all just sort of hang out and enjoy the beach, I hope. Selfishly, I hope you guys enjoy that. True fresh seafood on the fish farm out. Yeah, I know, the fish farm, right? No, that's the strap with which they put around the humans so that they can swim in peace and they don't get attacked by boats. Put my laptop back here. Here comes my lovely waitress with my breakfast. Okay.
Enjoy your breakfast.
Oh wow, this looks lovely. Thank you so much.
And after breakfast, you can look in some bread in the coffee shop.
Oh, you have like pastry and like bread and muffin and.
Have tiramisu.
Okay.
Yes. Soft chocolate.
Okay.
White chocolate.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh my God, I get pumpui just staying here. This is crazy. Cool. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Oh, do you have butter?
Oh, you want butter?
Butter for yeah. Is that okay?
Okay.
Great. Cool. Thank you. Oh, guys, this looks really good. A little salad there too. So it's basically, it looks like eggs with spaghetti sauce, but I'm sure it's not spaghetti sauce. I'm actually quite certain that it's some Israeli thing. Are any of you from Israel? And you can educate me on what I'm having. Is this a very traditional? Oh yeah, this is like the bacon and eggs of Israel. Let's get. Yeah, that's kind of good. There we go. Beer was 22 for a tall one, 7 for the pretzel. 7 for the pretzel. You gave a tip of $6. Joe, my whole breakfast isn't going to cost me $6. Actually, no, it may. What is $6? 180 baht? Yeah. So my breakfast will cost a little bit more than that. But I like the fact this coffee is very dark, which I'm hoping translates into this coffee is very flavorful. Do you guys use anything but pure sugar in your coffee? And if so, why? I mean, if you're diabetic, I absolutely, I'm not going to, I completely understand why you would use or not, I was just about to say sweet and low, but that's not sort of the new version of artificial sweeteners, right? What is it, equal, right? But other than that, I mean, wouldn't you just always want to put normal sugar in your coffee? Look at these stand by. Eggs and ketchup, yeah. But this is a very, if you've ever eaten street food in Thailand, you know that their forks are quite flimsy. Additionally, they gave me a knife. That's also another way to know that the majority of their patrons are going to be gringos, because normally it would just come with a fork and a knife. My butter, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Good.
sure.
Thank you, Cop. Oh, she's lovely. As is pretty much every single other person that I've met thus far. The woman who made my Jomtien and grilled chicken from her little cart on the beach yesterday, which is what I had for basically my late lunch / dinner. So I had Jomtien, and I had that's good sized bread. Yeah, it does look like eggs and ketchup. But let me taste this sauce first. Oh, actually, you know what, Joe? The sauce, if I were to just close my eyes and eat it, if I were to close my eyes and put something random in my mouth, he said from Pattaya, it almost tastes like chili. Good morning, someone's what? Oh, hey, honey, how you doing? Yeah, I came down here for breakfast. It tastes like chili. Splenda, yeah. So Joe, I was just wondering, I'm like, is Joe going to be the first person to say hello to Gracie? But Gracie was the first person to say hello to Joe. Mrs. Laquatsera being the ultimate greeter. Thanks, honey. Thank you, guys. I'm really honored by the fact that all the guys on my live stream dig my wife. I'm a fan of her. Many of you guys on this channel, Joe, for example. Yep, nice going, honey. Many of you guys have been married for years. So I'm curious whether you can relate to this. I absolutely say my wife when I refer to Gracie. But it's like I almost prefer calling her Gracie or my Gracie. Saying my wife, it's kind of like, I don't know, it just seems odd to say. Not that I find it odd to be married. It just seems like a label, which is weird. Now, one thing I'll never do, which is I know is a label that was very common like in the 60s and 70s, maybe even the 80s, is to refer to your wife as your old lady, right? And I always found that really offensive. But arguably, depending upon the social norm, one could argue, no, that was just a term of endearment. Okay, whatever. It was really good, you guys. Huh? You love your life and you love your wife. Right there with you, Joe. Joe, have you ever done a video with your wife? So, honey, I'm having this thing. Check it out. Let me zoom out here. It's it was basically, I mean, you know, so obviously you've seen before, I'm having a mango smoothie, I get coffee, orange juice, and water. Okay, so that's basically very common in any Thai restaurant. But there's like 2 eggs underneath here, and then there's this sauce. And the sauce is, it almost tastes like chili. Like if you were to have a bowl of chili in the United States, it almost tastes like that. It's referred to as a, it was under the heading of Israeli breakfast. I actually want to get the King's flag in there too. So stand by. There we go. There's the yellow one. There we go. Now I'm Thailand, baby. I think I took a picture of it or showed it briefly in the menu earlier in the video, but I think it's called like Shaka Kuska. I know that's wrong. And if any of you are of Israeli descent or familiar with Israeli breakfast, then you're probably like, no, Mike, that's not how you pronounce it. But anyway, it's basically eggs with some sauce. And some excellent bread, by the way. It was kind of cool. Your wife shy? Yeah. No, that's cool. I get it. No worries. Just curious. So I'm eating the salad right now. And it's basically just shredded carrots, chopped up tomatoes, chopped up cucumber, and lettuce with some dressing, and it's also really, really good. That said, perhaps I'm loving this breakfast so much because I'm using Joe's Super Chat money to feed my face today. Ha ha ha. Thank you, 10 of you, for watching, and thank you for the 5 thumbs up. I'm pleased that YouTube finally embraced the fact that my ego is fragile and no longer displays the number of dislikes you get on a video. That was a dumb metric to display. It's an interesting metric to look at as a content creator in your analytics, but that's cool. I've been going for an hour. How much battery do I have left? 64%, not too bad. I'm always not eating breakfast now. Shakshuka. Have you had this before, Joe? Or do you just like remember what the menu said? I'd never heard it before. I'll tell you the Mexican breakfast I really love is called chiquilaquiles. That's mildly similar to this. The sauce they have actually for that is a little spicier. Right on, honey. Love you. Safe flight. Hope Marlon's mother-in-law's flight works out okay. The sauce, I think I can tell you right now, if Gracie were eating this, she would think the sauce is far too sweet and not spicy enough. And I would agree with her because she's freaking awesome. You like the spinach? Well, Joe, I am sad to say that I don't see any spinach in here. Bummer, man. I'm going to Cambodia. I don't know. Well, probably not until later in the year. The plan is Gracie comes here and she'll be here for maybe like a month before we go to Boston to see my folks for the summer in Boston, which of course is only 2 months long. Before it gets so cold that I can't enjoy myself, meaning it gets below 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Today's Thursday, right? For me? What time is it for you, Joe? 10 p.m.? Time is it for you, Chris? Noon? Is it like lunchtime for you? If you've eaten at Thai restaurants, you'll know that the other thing that I'm really liking right now, 10:30, right on, is the fact that I have a napkin of the proper size. How annoying are the size of the napkins in most Thai restaurants? They're like these little squares of, 12:30, right on. You want to hang out here, Chris? We could have good conversations here, couldn't we, buddy? No pressure. No, you know that the reason that I haven't been able to hang out with Dave in Bangkok is because Dave is waiting for Chris to show up before he comes to Bangkok to hang out with us. 73, that's not too bad at night. That's a pretty good temperature. That's about as cold as I want it to be ever. Some people like the cold, some people like the hot. Some people like me who are freaking awesome like the hot and humid. Oh, sure, I'm biased. Absolutely, my friend. Yes, we could. So, MedTech, I would agree with your statement. I'll read it back because I found it to be a good one. Stay in Indiana for the summer, then go to Southeast Asia for the winter. Summer, I can achieve more, although I miss traveling so much. So I get that. Apologies, I am going to answer this more. I'm just drinking my orange juice, which, as you know, in Thailand is basically Tang. I think that is an excellent plan, Matt Tech. And then selfishly, I hope you'll be coming my way. I just happened here when Gracie and I are back here. So that's pretty damn cool. I know that Fahrenheit is meaningless, but it's one of those deals like when you grow up with it, right? So, like, I'm kind of used to, you know, what like 28 feels like. And I don't like it basically any lower than about 25. I certainly don't like 23. When I went in a hotel room and the woman's like, oh yeah, she puts it on 23, 21, sometimes the air conditioner, I'm like, okay. Excuse me. I'm like, all right, this chick's from freaking Belarus. I am okay with 30 degrees Celsius. I'm actually even okay with 40, believe it or not. Oh, sorry. GC is a dump. Oh, Gold Coast, really? Southeast Asia is opening up. Cannot afford to extend lockdown, needs tourists. Oh, yeah. Well, they need a lot of things. They need trade, too. I'll tell you the degree to be graduating with right now, if you're in your 20s, is supply chain management. Man, you must be in demand. Oh my God, MedTech. Me too, buddy. I'd be honored to meet you as well. Hoping to be in Thailand July to December. Cool, Joe. That's awesome. Gracie and I'll probably be back before October. I am wanting to stay in my hometown with my folks until I've exceeded their expectations and all of the things that they would like me to do for them, because they have grossly exceeded any expectations I have for doing things for me. They've been wonderful. Yeah, so 23 degrees C is about 73 degrees F. And even then, I'll tell you, 73 can be chilly if there's no humidity. For me, right? Why can't I get the comments to like stay and not fade away? Do you guys like know how to do that? $11 of you watching, my God. Thank you so much. That's amazing considering literally I did a live stream yesterday and I hadn't done one prior to that for about what? 6 months? Oh, and speaking of live streams, Chris, is your buddy from the TV station able to resurrect any of the video from our wedding? My mom would be psyched to see that. Let me know. This breakfast is a lot of sauce, but the cool thing is that the bread is really good and crunchy, and the pieces of bread are large. So I still haven't exhausted my second piece of bread, and I'm using it as my pusher for my food. And the eggs are cooked over easy, and they're not runny. If you're into that, I don't mind runny eggs if they're going to run over something, but eggs in a sauce, I prefer them to have a little bit of texture, some girth to them. Oh. But yeah, it's a lot of sauce. But I'm glad I ate it. I like the taste of it. I think I like the taste of Eggs Benedict better, but it's just pretty damn good. I'm liking Only Child Restaurant, that's for sure. I'm sure the proprietor isn't, but yeah, this place is like kind of fancy, you know? I gotta tell you, I really love the fact that when I go up the stairs, all the lights come on. That's cool, man. You guys hear the motors out there? That's a very comforting sound for me in the mornings. Gracie and I have stayed at a bunch of hotels that like overlook the beach like this, and wake up in the morning and the only commuters we see are these guys in their longtail boats. They're unmuffled longtail boat motors. And I don't know, I love that sound. It's like the sound of Happy Thailand morning, beach morning. Happy Thailand beach morning. Happy Thailand beach morning all over your body, ladies and gentlemen. The smoothie is quite good as well. And so, do you guys know, he's basically a subscriber. He's a moderator on a lot of channels, I think. He's certainly a viewer of a lot of channels. Patchy but getting there. The problem is YouTube doesn't save it as went past 12 hours on hold. He's trying to get audio sync as well. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, I know the audio was pretty bad. That was cool with the lights, right? Totally. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask. Jesus, I'm gonna have to get some more bread. 11 watching, 22 thumbs up, 11 million shakas. To give you an idea of how long it's been since I've done a YouTube video, YouTube live stream, Joe, I completely forgot that that's what you do. I forgot about the 11 million shakas. So that's neat. That's nice being reminded of behaviors of my buddies, you know? This smoothie's excellent. That's a mayoral advertisement. Huge speaker, well here. Huge speaker in the front, huge speaker in the back, playing music, advertising for the mayor. And what's weird, did you see the number on the side? So it's like, I don't know whether they, like every ad I see is, you know, the candidate is like number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, whatever. And of course, I'm just like, well, isn't that sort of redundant? I mean, you know their name, so it's either their name. Why do you need their name and their number? Maybe you text in your vote and you just put a numeric thing. I don't know. That would be pretty sophisticated, wouldn't it? There's my waitress lady. She was going over there. Oh, that's smart. Yeah, so they serve those people there the food from up here. YouTube forgot you again? Dude. Sorry. So, a moderator on a lot of channels that I've met through other guys' channels is a gentleman by the name of Roger McGee. Roger McGee, if you were watching my live stream yesterday, he's the guy that showed up towards the end of the live stream. And he's just living down the street, like literally in the condo complex that is 100 meters behind my hotel at Riviera. And it was so cool to talk to him. He's living a really good life, retired, has a great lady in his life. I'm stoked for him. Oh, Mariano, let me guess, you didn't get a notification? I think 50% of the guys that are on this live stream right now didn't get a notification. Mariano and I know how ridiculously easy it is to be able to accomplish a notification of a subscriber. It is probably the least amount of code known to man to be able to accomplish a push notification to an app or email. Email, my God. This was a really good breakfast, my friends. And as we know, food always tastes better when someone else makes it, right? Actually, food always tastes awesome when Gracie makes it. Ugh. Bummer. Well, I'm glad you're here, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm unsure how I would find someone else's live stream if I didn't get notified of it. I guess what happens if you open up the app, right? Then it's going to list the current videos of people that you are subscribed to, like in your feed of videos that you might want to watch. And it's got that little red live square on it. I was just thinking about a few things that are different from Thailand and America. In this scenario here, I mean, as you know, they drive on the left, right? So therefore, as you're driving down the street, you would presumably park on the left. And if you're driving up the street, then you would park as this guy is, right? And these cars would effectively be labeled as parking on the wrong side of the road, the way that the direction they're facing. And really, they're not. But I think more importantly, nobody cares. I think that's the really cool part. And it's not like it's a behavior that's abused. And so therefore, you know, there's no real push for law enforcement to be like, oh my God, that's a $50 ticket in Germany. No, precisely, right? So, but of course here, and, you know, the reasoning behind it, of course, is that, well, when the person pulls out into traffic, there's a higher likelihood of an accident. And we're trying to protect our citizens, you know, kind of thing. What's my opinion? Should you go to the UK? No. I don't see any benefit in the United Kingdom. Like, literally zero. I think the weather is obnoxious. Don't forget, there was England, and then they said, you know, let's try this again. And then they made New England, but the bozos didn't think to do it in freaking Florida. They're like, oh, let's do it in an additional colder climate where there's actually snow. Didn't really think that through, did you, UK? Founding fathers. No, I don't see anything. I honestly don't. I don't see any benefit to going to the United Kingdom. You got to remember, though, I'm not an art guy. Like, I mean, Mona Lisa, I'm just like, okay, well, that's just like some GIF on my... So I'm not sophisticated. You could label me however negatively you want, but like, I don't have an appreciation for art like many other people do. or really the theater. I mean, I like it, and I like the symphony, and I don't like ballet. And I'm not saying that's what's there. Obviously, that's available in New York as well as Boston. But for example, like, I don't think you're going to get a good deal on anything over there. You could potentially get a good deal on some stuff in, like, well, Boston. Like, bang for buck, if you will, the seafood in New England is infinitely better than that in San Diego, right? So, like, the $20 lobster that you buy in my hometown is a hell of a lot better than the $50 lobster that you buy in San Diego, even if it's Maine lobster that's coming in there. So there's stuff like that, but wedding invitation to best friend in December. Didn't see his parents for 11 years. I mean, depends what you're going for. I have a feeling you didn't ask me that with the subtitle of so that I can see my grandmother before she passes away. I'm sure it's not that, right? I'm assuming that you were referring to should I go to the UK for vacation, and I don't, I have the ability. I don't really want to spend the attention units, but I have the ability to get a UK passport because my father's parents are from Scotland. I already have a Canadian passport because my parents are from Canada and I was born in the US. But I don't really see the benefit. I don't see the benefit to having a UK passport, so I'm not going to bother. I'm really glad I have a Canadian passport, though, because I'm hoping to be able to have that as offer that type of citizenship to Eurice. So, lobster rolls with melted butter. You spelled it wrong. It's B-U-T-T-A-H. Butter. Oh, Bobby, go down to that packy. Get yourself some lobbies. Bring them back, and we'll just dip it in butter. Oh, wicked pisser. You'd think I'm joking. That's exactly how my neighbors talk. Are you pleased that you just saw me spit seeds out of my mouth? That's what makes this a 4-star resort and not a 5-star, because of the acceptable behavior of spitting by white males. After living in Asia for a few years, I'll definitely not go home. It's a casual country here in Asia. Who did that? I apologize. I can't see your... Oh, E.T. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, what I was saying about that, and thank you for interjecting, Mariano, with the $50 fine, because I'm quite certain it's probably the same in the U.S., probably more. But what I wanted to say about that kind of behavior is it's also like you've probably seen motorbikes driving on the sidewalk, like coming towards you as you're walking on the sidewalk. And, I mean, if you've seen one, it's not, oh my God, I've only seen that once in my entire time in Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, whatever. And I see it, every day, pretty much. If I were to walk around Bangkok, I would see people, motorbike taxi drivers, Grab drivers, people just driving potentially, the wrong way, sometimes with the flow of traffic on the sidewalk. But much like this parking out here, I want to label it as they don't take advantage of it. I mean, I think that's a lot of the reasoning behind the laws of behavioral prevention in Western countries, which is, people will always say, well, if everyone does it, like you throw trash on the ground. Oh my God, well, what if everybody did that? Well, yeah, then it could be a problem. And arguably here so in the Philippines, because there's not a whole lot of trash receptacles, people throw trash on the ground. And, you ask yourself, yeah, but what if everyone does that? Well, then it's going to look like the Philippines. There's going to be garbage everywhere. And there's not going to be receptacles to pick it up, and there's not going to be trash service, right? So that's a drag. But here, like I said, like no one takes advantage of it. Like I don't see, for example, even if there are like more cars parked in the wrong direction versus the right direction, if you're to pull out the wrong way onto traffic, well, the traffic just stops. And they sit there and they wait for you to make a U-turn and take up both lanes and then go the other way, and then everyone goes along their merry way. Versus in the US, if you're driving down the street and all of a sudden a car that's parked the wrong way on the street pulls out into traffic, my default setting in a number of scenarios is to honk on the horn, maybe give the guy, a piece of my mind, which again, if you're giving him this, then let's face it, that's probably 90% of the piece of your mind because you're so friggin' lame, Mike. I'll say that to myself. But here it's just like, I exit my condo and I walk across my condo and there is a guard standing on the sidewalk with a piece of PVC, right? And it's got a red piece of fabric at the top of it and he's holding a flag. And if there's a car that wants to go out into the middle of the road, this guy just walks out into the road and he holds his flag out there and the cars stop and he pulls out into traffic. And a lot of times he pulls out into traffic and he blocks both lanes because there's too much traffic. Like he pulls out too soon. And so now he's blocking both lanes. And people just sit there. They don't beep. They don't throw Coke cans they don't throw oranges at the freaking guy. I'll tell you, it's interesting when people say, oh my God, there's such bad drivers over here. Look, they may have a little bit of a different, certainly maybe less of a skill set, and they're maybe not as careful and that sort of thing. But I will tell you, in Bangkok, my experience is the automotive drivers, they're much better. It's a much better driving experience for me than it is in Boston or even San Diego for that matter. I'll give you a great example. So where I live on this friggin' island, right? And like basically pedestrians have the right of way. 20% of the cars that drive around there are golf carts. Okay, so it's like you're not going to go 75 miles an hour, in the left lane, right? So we're right outside my house and Gracie's in my car and I'm like, okay, let me teach you how to drive kind of thing, which is a challenge in the US. I mean, if we had a big parking lot on a Sunday, then that's probably what we should have done, but I couldn't find one. So we go up the street, right? And so Gracie's getting used to the pedals and the brake, right? And of course, you get into a car and you've never done it before. I did this when I was a little kid. I spent time staring at the pedals, not up at there. You're looking down at the pedals. And I had my right foot on the accelerator, my left foot on the brake, and it's like, no, you got to learn all these just new behaviors to drive a car, right? So she's figuring this out, and she's like, okay, gas, brake. You push on the gas. Even from car to car, sometimes you push on the gas. You're like, whoa, that's a different feel than my own car. So you get used to that, even if you're a seasoned driver. So Gracie's basically trying to go up the hill, right? And so, she pushes on the gas and she's on a flat surface. And so it does something. And then we get to this hill and she pushes on the gas and it does something different. So she needs to push on the gas more. Well, then the car sort of lunges forward and she doesn't really know how to react or respond or freak out and hit the brake. So there's someone behind us. And I got the sunroof open and I'm just like, okay, go around. So this guy pulls up behind on the side of us, beeps his horn we're in his way. And I'm just like, you know what, dude? Go kill yourself. I'm like, this is a residential area. Have you never taught someone who's your junior how to drive? I'm like, and it's just moments like that that bothered me. But they especially, I'm just actually quite apathetic about them, quite frankly, after having come over here to Southeast Asia. And I'm talking years ago. This is long before Gracie and I moved here permanently. But again, it was the inspiration of my Why Thailand series of videos when I came over here. Because I'm like, because if I'm going to teach my then wife how to drive on the road, if I'm in Thailand and I'm moving along really weird, I mean, people will just drive around. They're not going to honk. They're not going to, And I prefer to live in a community that's that way. But back to the whole not taking advantage of things. I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why here in Thailand, it's like, yeah, I mean, technically it probably is illegal or certainly frowned upon to drive your motorbike on the sidewalk when there's pedestrians come the other way. But you know what I do when I'm in Bangkok as a pedestrian and I see a motorbike coming the other way? Well, first of all, if he sees me coming the other way, he immediately stops and pulls over and waits for me to walk by. What I will occasionally do is if I see a motorbike coming is I'll be like, oh, there's a motorbike guy. And I'll pull to the side. And then, of course, he'll slowly approach me. And then what'll he do when he gets up to me? He'll bow and thank me and he'll go. And the day goes on. And I've now left this experience that has arguably been either neutral or, quite pleasurable. It's like, okay, I let a guy go one way. He let me go the other way. The world keeps spinning. Versus in the US, I could absolutely, if I'm walking on the sidewalk and there's a motorbike driving towards me, and again, the chances of a 100cc motorbike being anywhere in California is it's unlikely. But so it'd be like a 650 coming towards me, some Kawasaki Ninja type. Anyway, regardless, it would be so foreign, right? Then I would bet you that part of my behavior would be like, oh no, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to stand here and I am going to block this guy from getting past me on my sidewalk. How dare he take up my real estate on this thing? And I absolutely engaged in that behavior. Someone's trying to cut me off in traffic, right? Oh no, I'm going to pull up and here I'm just like, it's like, you know what? If you want to drive, cool. I will say that I'm not perfect though. I mean, when we were in the Philippines, I was getting very frustrated. It was hot out. We didn't have air conditioning. I was in our old car that we had, and it was a manual transmission. And it was, it wasn't pleasant to drive. It wasn't like it had AC and cruise control. And we were in a parking structure, and there were 2 lanes of traffic, and then someone wanted to make a 3rd lane and go around us and then cut us off and all that. And I got frustrated, and I honked on the horn, and I bumped the guy's bumper in front of me. And after I did that, I was just like, taking a look at myself going, Mikes, dude, what is your fucking stop, bro? This is what you hate. You are engaging in ugly behavior, such ugly behavior right now. I was embarrassed. I was remorseful. I was not a part of the local community process. And, arguably I was also very, I'm fairly anti-Philippines. I'm not anti-Filipinos, but I'm very anti-Philippines process and government and infrastructure and commitment to education. It's got far too many things wrong with it. Considering it is a country made up of islands, we should have conquered that years ago and made it into a giant spa. That should be Hawaii version 2.0. And there should be an undersea monorail that basically goes from Kauai or Maui all the way to Boracay. Or Midway, right? Hawaii to the Midway, to Guam, to the Philippines. To be a giant bridge. The bridge of vacation. He yelled, "What are you doing?" I said, "Mind your own business," and walked away. Oh, okay, wait, there's a story coming. I'm actually loving Thailand. Don't have to pay fines, having a great time. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. So, let's see. No, I haven't been stopped for not wearing a helmet. I've been on a motorbike where the person driving, she was Thai. This is years ago. She didn't have a helmet, and so they pulled us over. And she also didn't have a license, so she had to get off the motorbike, and she went into the, those little like buildings they have. It's like a police building. So she had to go in there, and she had to pay. Well, she told me when she came out. She goes, "Yeah, I had to pay him $400. I don't have my license." So naturally, my question was, "What does it cost to get a license?" And she says, "Oh, it's 400 baht." I'm like, how convenient. Why wouldn't you go do that? But, fines are different over here. And we were actually having this discussion as recently as 2 days ago about corruption and how my buddy Robbie was not wearing a helmet and doesn't have a Thai driver's license. And I don't believe he even has his international driving permit, nor does he have a motorcycle endorsement on his California driver's license. So he gets pulled over, and he ends up basically paying 1,000 baht to the cop, right? And then he goes on his merry way. And he does, in fact, have a helmet. And who knows? Maybe he bought it because he likes helmets, or maybe he bought it because he's like, well, shit, I don't know, I'm going to have to pay another 1,000 baht to somebody, right? Regardless of what happened, what transpired afterward, we were having this discussion with his Thai girlfriend, and she's like, "Oh yeah, you got to pay the cops. You got to bribe them. You got to pay them mordida, right, in the Mexican format of bribery, or you got to pay them a under the table kind of thing." And I'm like, okay, I get that, but that scenario occurred, and literally moments after it is over. That transaction is finished, and you're moving on, and that cop is moving on to his next task of whatever. And you're out, let's say for the sake of argument, $30. You as the tourist. If you're caught in Southern California without driving without a helmet, and let's say you're just in a residential area. I mean, if you're driving without a helmet on the 405, you know, please fill out an organ donor card because you have a finite amount of existence left. So you get a fine. And conservatively, I'm going to go with the fine for not wearing a helmet, riding a motorbike in Southern California. It's probably at least $100, if not $200. And while you could be like, okay, fine, I'll just pay the $200 when I get the ticket in the mail, right? So in other words, you get a ticket from this cop. He does all of his stuff. He drives off. You drive off. Well, that's not the end of it. You now have basically a piece of paper that says you are required to pay this fine via mail or website or credit card or physically going to the court and paying the fine. And then that can be over. And that'll take approximately anywhere from 2 weeks to 1 month, because sometimes you get a ticket, you get the receipt for it, but you don't get the ticket in the mail for 2 to 3 weeks. It's really ridiculous. Now, if you just pay that, if you know, in Southern California, and I don't know whether Florida or Massachusetts or whatever is this way, but in California, if you get any degree of infraction on your driving ability, then you get points added to your license. And if you get a certain amount of points, then basically your license reduces in validity. If you get like 10 points for drunk driving, then you don't get your license back for 6 months. Big fine, got to go to jail or whatever. But if you don't wear a helmet, then you get a few points. Well, those points, those deductions of, competency, basically following being lawful, get reported to your insurance company. And then, of course, your insurance rates go up a certain amount. So let's say, for the sake of argument, you've got a $200 ticket for not wearing a fine. Sorry. You get a $200 ticket fine for not wearing a helmet. That then gets reported to your insurance company as being basically an unsafe driver, which means you're a higher risk, which therefore means that they can justify charging you a higher premium. Let's say, for the sake of argument, your premium goes from $100 to $110. Let's say it goes up 10%. So over the course of a year or the rest of your life, your insurance is now going to be more money. But let's just say it goes up $10 for like 3 months. Okay, so that's another $30. So now you've got the $200 that you paid for your ticket, and you've got the $30 that you paid for your insurance. And I know it goes on in perpetuity, but let's say you've got some insurance company that's incredibly gracious and modern, and they're like, okay, well, you made a mistake. We're going to monitor you for the next 3 months. If you don't do something bad in the next 3 months, then we'll lower your premiums. That doesn't exist, but let's say that fantasy of insurance actually occurs somewhere. So then, it's not okay to wear a helmet in Florida. Really? You pay what you pay for your room? Oh my God. Rob door hinges? Wow. I remember that. That's a flashback. So now in California, what you can do to basically pay the Department of Motor Vehicles to not report your infraction to your insurance company, you can go through a process of what's called traffic school. And in traffic school, you basically pay someone who is a teacher, if you will, to go to this school, to go to this classroom where they lecture you on the rules of the road. You then take a test saying, I learned how to drive better, and I get a certificate of learning more and being safer. And then I submit that back to the DMV, for example, saying I've gone to traffic school, is what it's called. So now we won't inform your insurance company, but you still owe us the $200. Well, traffic school costs anywhere from $50 to $100. So let's say you don't want to do the thing, you just want to take care of basically the fines in one single payment, and you want to be done with it as quickly as possible. So you've got the fine for the not wearing the helmet, and you've got the cost, the fine of going to traffic school. And so now you're basically out like $300. In some jurisdictions, not only do you need to go through all this process, but you need to physically take your helmet to the court with your ticket, sometimes referred to as a fix-it ticket. And you need to say, look, I wasn't wearing a helmet at this time and I got this ticket, but here is my helmet, and I'm proving to you that I've basically learned from my mistake, and I'll be wearing my helmet moving forward. Now, occasionally you'll luck out, and if you get this fix-it ticket, you will not have to pay a financial penalty. You'll just prove to them, no, I actually have a helmet, I just wasn't wearing it then. This is my first infraction, I'm very sorry. And so your fantasy is that you're not on any cash. But the point is that here you have an experience over here where you've paid a certain amount of money. And let's say, for the sake of argument, that's the standard fine for not wearing a helmet for even a Thai person, which it's not. 1,000 baht for not wearing it, that's unheard of. That's ridiculous. That is a full-on gringo price. but they might charge a Thai person like 200 or 300 baht. So for the sake of argument, we'll call that a 1 day's pay, okay? And basically the same amount of money or even more 1 day's pay you've had to shell out in California for not wearing this helmet. You've taken up an enormous amount of time and arguably self-induced, but nonetheless additional stress in your life. And it's taken forever. And there's all these people that have been necessary in the process to process the payments, to process the traffic schools, to make sure the traffic schools aren't selling drugs or what, you know, some degree of monitoring, checks and balances. They need to pay the teacher of the traffic school. They need to pay the administrative staff. They need to pay the... And so if you think about it, it's like, okay, you could argue that, yeah, maybe it's corrupt, but it is a hell of a lot more efficient. And at the end of the day, here's a tip, wear a helmet. If the world is quite clear on what the laws are and you break them, well, then that was probably your choice. You chose not to wear a helmet, you know? So anyway, that's a long way of me saying why Thailand, me answering why Thailand, because there seems to be a little bit of acceptance over here of having personal accountability and in your community doing the right thing as a social. I'll give you a great example. As far as I know right now, there is no law stating that I need to wear a mask. And I'm not wearing one because I've just eaten at a restaurant, that sort of thing. But I believe that woman that just came over and was sweeping around, I think she's wearing a mask. The waitress, as I walked in, the concierge or whatever her title is, she was wearing a mask, and she wore a mask when she came over to serve me. I will leave, and for the most part, I will wear a mask when I'm outdoors in public. And I have zero concern medically that I'm going to be harmed in any way with any, like, germs that are floating in the air. But I do it because it's a social norm, because that's what people do. And to that point, like, if I'm all the way down one way and there's like a center divide on a thing, and I'm just like on a roadway, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to drive all the way down there and turn around. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to drive the wrong way up the street. And I'm going to either have my blinker on, I'm going to drive safely, people are going to see me coming, no one's going to honk, no one's going to drive into me, purposely to prove their point. But if I do it safely and it's okay, I mean, people will accept that. They'll be like, okay, yeah, I mean, people drive the other side, you know, because it's, and there's this like degree of sort of acceptable efficiency. And, you know, you're in the spirit of the law, right? I mean, in other words, you're driving the wrong way down the road, but you're also not doing it at 75 kilometers an hour, holding a blowtorch, you know, and throwing firecrackers at young dogs, you know. I mean, it's like you're being, you know, fairly appropriate, and you're not beeping the horn the whole way, and you don't have a loud muffler or whatever. You're not causing any sort of discomfort for the community around you. And it just seems like that is an infinitely better way to live, you know. You know, the one final thing I will say about sort of the law and breaking the law and not breaking the law or being in the spirit of the law, and I think a lot of people have even done YouTube videos about this, or we've spoken about it, or people experience this, especially for a foreigner. It is incredibly safe here. Not to the whole deal of like, I'm going to walk down the street and no one's going to mug me. I mean, yeah, that's a big checkbox, of course. That's the default setting. That should be the default setting of any neighborhood that you choose to live in my opinion. But I would bet there's probably 10 motorbikes down there on the side. I would bet at least 3 of them have the keys in them, because people are like, well, if I take them out, I might lose the keys, so I'm just going to leave them in the motorbike. Well, no one's going to steal my motorbike. Like, why? You just don't do that here, right? Pudamonth. Okay, thank you. I just got a message from Roger McGee, who I was speaking of. Actually, he told me about a park, because I really like Lumpini Park, and he said there's another park. I think he said northwest, maybe, of Bangkok city center. Take a cab, I think 40 minutes, he said. He said, I'll like that park even better. So thank you, sir, for letting me know that. So anyway, that's just sort of my little, that's my long answer. Going to join a town, less hassle, much less hassle, ET. I'm done with mask wearing here or there. Sorry if that makes me a bad guy. I feel that my vaccination and booster set. Well, again, it's not a medical discussion, right? It's a social norm. Everyone around here has got at least 2 vaccines. I have 3, and I got them so I could travel, not so I could be medically appropriate. I absolutely question the validity of masks and whether they're going to add value. I completely agree. I don't think that there's any necessary medical, thing to it. It probably doesn't hurt, but yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I would prefer to not, and I'll be glad when the social norm is to not wear them. But I used to also be. It would be a very common behavior for me to hang out at the beach with no shirt on. And then I would leave the beach and I would walk across the street and I would go to a restaurant and I would use their restroom or I'd buy some of their food or whatever. But you don't do that here. You don't go topless, even as a guy. You don't just like walk. You put a shirt on when you walk across the street. In public, basically, when you leave the beach. And that's just more of a social norm here. And, especially in the summer when it's really hot, which is every single day that ends in Y in Thailand, I would prefer to just walk around without a shirt on. It's just like, hey, I like these shirts, so I do that because that's Thailand. So for me, it's, trust me, it's more of an inconvenience to wear a mask than it is a shirt. I get that. But I just do it because I do it. It's a lot easier to enter the Philippines right now as a foreigner than it is to enter Thailand. But guess what I just did? I entered Thailand and I left the Philippines. I could have stayed in I got stamped in for a year because I'm married to a Filipina. And I was like, okay, I've been here 45 days. I've been here 60 days. I'm done. And I'm going to go through the nonsense that I have to go through to basically enter Thailand. When I entered Thailand in March, it was not fun. It was a pain in the ass. Even with test and go and PCR test and all this nonsense. I had to allocate time in Manila to get tests done and that sort of thing. Now, obviously, the main reason I was in Manila is so that I can get my visa. But, I'm still going through that. I'm still going through that. I have an attorney and I have an administrative assistant and my CEO is spending attention units on basically getting me a visa. Extending my visa because my initial visa to enter the country is a B visa and it's good for 90 days and then their expectation is in that 90 days you then extend it and get your 2-year multiple entry visa through the BOI, and it's a total pain in the ass, but I'd rather be here. So how's the Pajero? Yeah, the Pajero's still for sale, Chris. How do I feel about 2 different prices, one for Thais and one for Farang? You're okay with it, Joe. Metech's okay with it too. I charge Thais more for roadside service, karma. No, I don't. The thing that I bring up that was most relevant to my career is that I worked in a university. And in a private university, there's scholarships for public universities and stuff, and those are supplemented by various things. Well, I was with a private university, and a scholarship, basically, at a private university simply means that you're getting a discount. And we give those discounts. We charge less for smart people, for people that potentially are going to be so smart that when they leave here and get a degree, then they're going to give money to the Alumni Association, and we're going to get top line revenue from them that way. But if you're not smart and your grades are shitty and you don't do well in school, again, that's an energy thing. But at the end of the day, some people are just smarter than others, okay? So is it fair that a private university charges smart people less and charges people that aren't as smart more? I don't know. We certainly don't charge people that are shorter less or shorter more. We don't charge people that are overweight more than we charge thin people. We don't charge white people more than we charge black people. We don't charge Mexicans more than we charge Asians. Well, that's not true. If you're truly Asian, then you're from outside of the country and you actually pay an additional amount. If you don't live in a state, you pay more out-of-state tuition. That makes complete sense to me because, of course, in-state tuition is subsidized somewhat by your tax dollars. So that paradigm makes sense to me. But should smart people pay less for university than dumb people? I never got scholarships. I never got discounts. I'm a decent guy. I'm a fairly decent student, but I'm not as smart as the next guy who paid less, who was sitting right next to me in the same calculus class. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, the only way I would know about it is because expats complain about it. And those are the videos I don't watch with any degree of regularity. Because look, here's the thing. You can either complain about stuff all day long or you can do something about it. I complained about the Philippines and I left. That was my solution. I complain about their education system, so I have a plan in place for my daughter to get a better education somewhere else, even though her entire family has been paying taxes into the system, that a portion of those taxes go to the education system. But it's an absolute waste of money as far as I'm concerned, and I'm willing to just throw that money at it and say, I don't care, we're leaving this country and you're going to get an education somewhere else. You're going to get educated somewhere else. You're not just going to go to school somewhere else. You're going to travel somewhere else. You're going to experience people somewhere else. You're going to learn another language somewhere else. And, you know, to be fair, here's the other thing, is that the amount of delta in cost is not relevant. Like, as Joe and I joke around about, right? We have words in Southern Florida. We have words in Southern California for beautiful manicured parks that occupy 700 acres that cost $11. Sorry, how much? Yeah, $11 to get into. And that's called free. And the Thais who grew up here, I tell you what, the price that people complain about having to pay to get into these various establishments that they believe is too high, if the solution for you to pay less to that would be to rewind your life and be born here and grow up here as the average minimum wage earning teenager / big family unit, would you do that? Like, in other words, are you willing to go through all of the iterations of life that someone else did that pays $1 to get into a national park? Are you willing to do that, to not pay 11? Because that's the reason. It's not necessarily just because you can. You know, they're not sticking it to the man, right? Because you got to remember, it's not just one reason for anything. I've known some wealthy Thai families and some wealthy Thai people, and when they go to those national parks, they're absolutely Thai, and they give like 500 baht. They're like, here, like, come on, Anyway, I'm more than okay with the price of my entire life here. That's why, like, even as a Thai YouTuber, I haven't done a cost of living video like I'm supposed to, right? Because I have a cost of life, and renting a car here basically costs about the same as renting that car in the United States. Staying in a hotel here costs a little less, and by a little less, I mean 96% less for a beachfront hotel. My life costs less here. You know what costs more here? McDonald's costs more here than it does in the United States. Is that fair? Starbucks costs more here than it does in the United States. Is that fair? Life has a cost, and I can absolutely vote with my wallet. I think the more appropriate response, if you're going to truly, I mean, maybe you were just joking around, but if you're truly believing that there's a karma piece to it and you're going to abide by that, then I would submit to you that you need to charge wealthy people more for your services than people that don't have means, because that's primarily the reason, other than the fact that, it's Thailand, and like, foreigners can come to the United States and do pretty much any job they want. And you could argue that that's okay if you're a foreigner, but maybe they're taking jobs away from Americans. Maybe not. Whereas here, there's a list that they're like, look, dude, you can't just come to Thailand and do a job that a Thai could do. Well, if I'm a Thai citizen, I'm pretty damn proud of my country for, like, sticking up for me. And I'm okay with that too. And also, I've also been places where, someone next to us is like a beach chair, right? They're paying like 200 baht and they see me coming or whatever. They do this a lot in the Philippines. If Gracie and I go up as a pair, they look at her and they look at me. They're like, oh, yeah, 600 pesos. And she's like, dude, this was like 9 pesos yesterday. And we just simply roll our eyes and we drive elsewhere. Because, I mean, in the end, capitalism works real well because, you can vote with your wallet. And I vote with my wallet when I bought this phone. I was not willing to spend $1,000 for an iPhone that effectively would solve my requirements, my technical requirements, just as fine as a $300 phone. So I bought the $300 phone. And that's actually more of a different comparison. So basically, if you compare this phone to a Samsung phone that literally almost has 100% of the same internals and has the same feature availability, I didn't buy that phone because it's too expensive. That phone is designed for people who are wealthier than I am. So I bought this phone. I am ridiculously okay with my life in Thailand. And I will say one final thing. If you come over to Thailand and your biggest problem during the day is allocating attention units to something negative, like you're being required to pay $10 more than the next guy to go enjoy a public park or a boat ride or something like that, 90% of the world wants your problems. You need to be, I would hope that if I were in that scenario, I would pause and spend a hell of a lot more brain cycles on gratitude than, woe is me, I'm being excluded, I'm being treated differently than someone else. Oh my God, life's not fair. When I was 8, they guaranteed me life would be fair if I just paid my taxes. Sitting here as I am, I have a life that certainly exceeds my expectations, sometimes on an hourly basis. Like right now, I'm actually happier than I was 1 hour ago. And Joe paid for my whole breakfast. Is that fair? Anyway, I went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Hey, Paul, how you doing, buddy? Thailand, 40 million visitors in 2019. Thailand population is about 70. So how are they going to take care of the infrastructure and maintenance? So I guess you have to foot the bills. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. My solution is simply not to pay it. Absolutely, dude. Yeah, sure, just walk away. That is a gay earth shirt, yeah. All these cool shirts are gay earth shirts. U.S. parks don't charge foreigners more, no matter how you dress it up. Dual pricing is inexcusable. Change your glasses. Agreed. Side Trip Life, thank you so much. You're so awesome. You're so talented. I don't worry about it. I just won't pay it. I'd rather not visit the particular location. You're not going to come to Thailand because of it? Or just a specific park? Did you know that the Philippines charges their citizens extra to leave their country? It costs Gracie 1,800 more pesos to leave the Philippines than it does me. What? That's offensive. On the topic, in Idaho, plus other state parks in the U.S., locals pay 50% less than out-of-state visitors. As a Southern California resident, Disney charges me less than people that have come there to be, and I'll tell you, they are not a public park. That is a 100% private capitalism.com park. But as someone who lives in Southern California, I pay less than all of you guys that come to Southern California to go to Disneyland. I don't know if they do that in Florida, Joe. Like, Joe, do you have buddies that live in Orlando that pay less to go to Disney World than Epcot Center? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I tell you right now, health insurance is a hell of a lot cheaper in Canada for a Canadian, right? If I just double click across the border and I need to get my knee repaired, just because I'm in Canada doesn't mean I'm going to, And you could say, oh, yeah, Mike, but as Canadian citizens, they pay taxes. Well, guess what? As Thai citizens, guess what they pay? They haven't just paid monetarily, they've paid with their life. They had to grow up here. We vacation here, for the most part. In Thailand, if my very small subsidy allows a poor Thai kid to access their own park, dude, I am so with you. And if you guys watch his videos, I love getting a good deal. I love taking the bot bus for 30 cents. I mean, it is absolutely, I mean, Joe, we have a word in everywhere else for taking a someone else propelled transportation for 10 kilometers for 30 cents. And that is called, they are paying me. That is called free. Yeah, see, Joe pays less to go to Disneyland. Are there people in the United States that are like making YouTube videos that are like, I won't go to Disneyland and I won't go to Epcot Center and I won't go to Disney World because the people that live here locally, they're going to pay less. How dare they? Free. It's free, Joe. Free. Side Trip Life, you'll watch some of his stuff and again, exactly. The reason it's cheap is so that effectively the poor, the local poor, can enjoy it. And do you know why specifically it's for public parks? Because Ramen 9, who is, I'm going to tear up just now thinking about it. Ramen 9, who was one of the world's best freaking leaders of our last 200 years, he liked parks. He liked parks. He liked music. He liked photography. And his fantasy was that every Thai person would get one rai of land